In our last video, we mentioned that we'll be discussing about a few ship types to help you with your interviews. So let's see some of the ship types. This is a view of an anchorage where ships are waiting to go into a port. This is generally a waiting area. As you can see, you see mostly ships with containers on them. There are two other ships at least, not container ships. So this one over here, it looks like a tanker, and this one over here is not a container vessel, but it could be another different type of ship. So let's see the ship types. This of course doesn't give you a clear view of the ships on top, but there's supposed to be a chemical tanker, a cement carrier, a ferry, LPG tanker, a reefer ship, ro-ro cargo ship. These are all tanker ships, different kind of tank ships. So this is a very common ship types where most of the people, they know what kind of ships these are. These are naval ships or combat ships. They are made to combat. They are made for security reasons, to protect their countries or borders or different regions. They carry a lot of people, a lot of weapons, a lot of firepower. And this one on the right side is also a naval ship. It's also a naval ship, but it's not for combat. It is actually a hospital. They are very big, massive ships. They have all the facilities just like you have in any other hospital on land. During the tsunami in 2004, December, one of these ships came and stationed near to the coast of Sri Lanka to help with rescues and recovery of people. So these are both naval ships. This is a combat ship and this is a hospital ship. So this is the ship from all times. This is the sail ship. This is an old kind of sail ship made of wood and these canvas sails. So this is the old-fashioned ship. But the other three here are modern kind of sailing ships. They are not depending on the sail or the wind power alone. They have engines fitted. They have all the facilities, all the fancy items, just like any other modern ship, but they also have the sails. So they can use the wind power and they can even use the engines as well. So there are few passenger or the pleasure crafts made like this, made with sails in the modern days. So this is a cruise ship. People call these passenger ships as well, but passenger ships are actually made to transport people from one place to the other. But this kind of ships are actually for fun, for spending, not just going from A to B, but it's just going around and coming back. So that you can spend a holiday, few days, few weeks, depending on the cruise you select. They are very big ships. Year by year, they are made bigger and bigger, and they are just like any other 5-star or 7-star hotel. They have all the facilities, all the entertainment. Even they have theme parks, swimming pools, badminton, tennis courts, squash courts, gymnasiums, restaurants, casinos, so everything all in one. So, and all activities for all age groups. So it covers all even if you don't go out ashore when they call a port, visit a country, you still don't get bored because you don't need to wait for going to a different country or going to you don't need to wait for the ship to go to a port to enjoy yourself, because every day there is some activity you can enjoy. There are enough shows, cinemas, there are theaters, cinemas, so many things. Everything is there. So, and there are a lot of, because of this diversity of departments, because of these various activities present and available in the cruise ships, there are a lot of jobs as well for the people, in not only the ordinary merchant ship ranks or the job categories. These ships have very vast area of jobs. You have these are the departments on board a cruise ship, but we'll discuss this each department in little detail in a separate video. These look like again cruise ships or the passenger ships. Of course they carry passengers, carry people, but they are not in a very lengthy routes. They trade from few minutes to few hours, maybe maximum a day or two. So the different countries that have separated by sea, lakes, rivers. So the people who want to travel from one place to the other, when they can drive their car in, park the car and settle on board this vessel, and once the vessel reaches the other port, they can drive the car back out and go on their business. So these are called passenger car ferries. These are called ro-ro or the car carriers. The passenger car ferries also kind of ro-ro ships. These are a bigger kind of ro-ro ships. They carry cars, trucks, trains, machineries, helicopters, boats, you name it, everything can be carried, as long as they can be driven inside, towed inside, or carried by forklifts inside, kept on a trailer and taken inside. In whatever the way, if you are able to bring the cargo inside and keep it on board, these ships are able to carry. And mostly this width, height or the length of the cargo has not much limitation, because these ships can adjust their deck heights. Certain decks heights can be adjusted to accommodate such huge cargo packages also. So these are called PCCs or PCTCs, namely pure car carriers or pure car and truck carriers. Generally they are called vehicle carriers or ro-ros. They are huge ocean going vessels or trading between short routes. This is a very common kind of ship. Everybody knows what is a container, and everybody knows what is a container ship. These are the container ships. They are huge container ships. Year by year, the size of the container ships keep getting bigger. Now there are container ships big enough to carry more than 20,000 containers, but there are small kind of container ships as well that can carry only few hundreds or few thousand containers on short routes. So they are called feeders. So they can feed these big ships in a port. So in one region, feeders will carry all the cargo from other regions, other ports of the region, and bring to one port where the big ship comes. So that is the term used as feeders for the small ships, and these are the large vessels. for Sri Lanka, you can be proud of, as Sri Lanka Colombo port is one of the main container ports, and from other ports in the region, the feeders operate and bring the cargo to Colombo to be carried in these huge container ships. Similarly, whatever being brought in these container ships, the huge ships, discharged in Colombo port and carried by feeder ships to the regional ports. So this ship on the left, right, top is a container ship, but having deck cargo. These are called project deck cargo or deck cargo, because they cannot be put in a container, so they are kept on top and secured. These are all container ships. So these are called tanker ships. The top two here are called crude oil tankers. They are massive, huge ships. They just carry unrefined crude oil, and these ships carry refined oil. So refined oil grades. Once the crude oil is refined, and the different oil grades like petrol, diesel, kerosene, different kind of oils, they can carry in separate different tanks. They have separate pipelines to discharge all the cargo without contaminating. These are called bulk carriers. Bulk carriers carry granular cargo in bulk form, or any cargo, sand, minerals, or grains, anything can be carried in bulk form. And this one on the top left is called a Panamax bulk carrier. This is called a Handymax because it is very flexible to go into different ports, and since these ships have cranes or cargo gears, we call, they can use those cranes to discharge the cargo on board the ship, even if the port doesn't have cranes available. On this case, this ship is called a gearless ship because it doesn't have cargo gears like cranes on the ships. So this ship doesn't have, so these are called gearless ships, and these are called geared bulk carriers. And according to the size or how flexible they are called different names, just like this one, Handymax. But these are all bulk carriers. The Panamax bulk carrier has a standard of 7 hatches of the cargo holds on them. These also are bulk carriers. These are huge ships. They are either called Cape size ships or even bigger ships are there. They have generally 9 hatches, and you see how massive this ship is. It's assisted by 5 tugboats. This is again another Cape size bulk carrier. They are gearless. They don't have cargo cranes or other cargo handling gear fitted on them. These ships generally don't have a elevated separate forecastle deck. It is called flush deck ships because just one deck, same one deck is there continuously from forward to the aft end. What kind of ship does it look like? You can see it has this davit like you have on tankers, and you have even pipelines just like you have on tankers. But then you have cargo cranes like you have on bulk carriers, and then cargo hatches like you have on bulk carriers. So this is tanker or even a bulk carrier, both. These are called oboes, and they are huge ships. They carry oil, they can carry bulk cargo, Oboe means they they carry oil, bulk, and ore. Ore means iron ore. This is another type of bulk carrier. You can see those hatches, cargo holds, but you can see another separate kind of gear on top. This is called the boom. So these are called self-unloading bulk carriers because these ships they have, once the cargo is loaded into these hatches, once they reach the discharging port, they don't need the shore cargo discharging facilities or the cranes, anything, because these ships can swing out the boom and discharge the cargo themselves. So that's why they are called self-unloading bulk carriers. They are very common in USA and Canada, and mostly in Great Lakes. This is a laker. Most of the ships here are lakers. I'll have a separate video on these ships because I have worked on these ships and I like making a separate video for your knowledge about the self-unloading bulk carriers and the Great Lakes. These are the old kind of ships or the type of ships still common, still around. These are called general cargo vessels. General cargo vessels used to have derricks. They are just like the purpose is like the modern cranes, but the operation is different, the construction is different. So these derricks were used to lift and lower the cargo onto the ship and again out of the ship. These are all derricks. There are different types of derricks you will learn. And this ship is a modern type of general cargo ship because it has cranes. So for your knowledge, these are called general cargo ships. They carry cargo which is in bag, like rice bags, sugar bags, cement bags. So many things can be carried in these ships. Quite flexible because they are able to carry different kind of cargoes in them. This is a gas carrier. So these gas carrier ships carry gas under pressure or under refrigerated condition. So the gas is carried in liquid form in their cargo tanks. This is another type of a gas carrier, but it's called natural gas carrier, liquid natural gas. This is the new kind of clean fuel, and even for power plants and even for running ships now you have LNG as the fuel. You have even on the road vehicles compressed natural gas called CNG to run road vehicles. So it's a clean kind of fuel and is like the modern or the future fuel. So these gas carriers are also very big, massive ships. What kind of ships these are? You see, this ship is already, the water level is up to here. So the big part of the ship is underwater. And then you see here the same thing. The forward part and the aft part is visible above the water, but the middle section is underwater. That is because these ships can fill their ballast tanks, the tanks, and become heavy, so they get partially submerged in water. So once they go down in water, the other floating cargo can come floating on board, can be pushed or towed to above the ship, and then when the ship pumps out the water from their tanks again, when it lifts up, it also lifts the cargo like this. So this is how this cargo is carried on these ships. These are called heavy lift ships. or semi-submersible ships. Generally they are called heavy lift ships. There are different sizes of ships. So this Dockwise is the biggest heavy lift ship company in the world. Does it look like a cruise ship or a passenger ship? Yes, they have passengers on board, but they are not human. These are the passengers boarding the ship. They are not people, they are sheep or cattle. So these are called cattle carriers or livestock carriers. They carry animals mostly for meat, and the most common route for these cattle carriers is from Australia and New Zealand to the Middle East countries and the North African region, because that is where the most of the meat consumption is, and the trade of this ship is. These are called survey vessels. You can see on the hull of this ship, they do underwater surveys. Different kind of surveys are carried out by ships. So different kind of survey ships are made as per the surveys they're going to perform. This is one example. They are mapping the underwater, the seabed. So some survey ships, they will search for oil, the minerals. So different purposes are there for survey ships. So they are called. So these are the survey vessels. They are not very big ships, but they carry a lot of people because they have a lot of technical experts. They have technicians. They have scientists. They have a lot of other people in addition to the usual ship staff. So this is one very special kind of vessel. This is the only company that operates this kind of vessel to launch rockets from sea. So these rockets carry satellites. This is a commercial operation to carry satellites to the orbit, and this, as I mentioned in one of the videos, so these ships are managed by our company, the company I work for. So these are only a few ship types, just for your knowledge, and for the people who have some interest as general knowledge. So you can dig further and further familiarize on ships starting from here. But of course, this will help you to get through the interviews to show your interest and familiarization. Let's meet with another video in future. Thank you.